Hello, this is a series I call My Film Diary, where I share my review or analysis of different films in each episode. I hope you subscribe to this channel to tune into each upload as they come out. In this third installment, I will look at the 1990s new queer cinema movement and the conditions surrounding its filmmaking that helped influence its content, to understand how film styles indicate context. Style is defined by the way the content of the film is presented to the audience. For some scholars, style informs the story. Cinema history has three established stylistic categories: classical, realist, and formalist. The context of classical style is the Hollywood system, where the story is paramount and the goal is to be seamlessly blended in through immersion. Alternatively, realist films do not privilege story, where its structure is at the will of characters, places, or eras. Formalist films prefer intervention, exploring abstract ideas through stories and characters, usually relying heavily on stylistic techniques or artistic expression. New queer cinema was an exemplary category of formalist films, where its style techniques pointed to self-referential exploration of film's relationship to the LGBTQIA+ community. There are many reasons as to why new queer cinema took a formalist approach. For one, to outwardly address Hollywood codes through a self-conscious way via artifice, so new queer cinema's image is not misconstrued as reality, yet is designed to purposely question previous foundations and reclaim its coding.
All I really want is to be happy for like 1 second. Be able to look around and not just see shit.
To give context, cinema's stories at the time tended to juxtapose a happy heterosexual life with a homosexual life suffering from external pressures or internal vices, i.e. AIDS, hate crime, suicide, drug abuse, that may have depicted the plight of the LGBTQ+ community, yet the message was made evident that heterosexuality was the ideal and desired identity. Time and time again, Hollywood's codes fashioned queer characters as deviant, criminal, undesirables, or flat-out other. Yet queer filmmakers of the 1990s like Greg Akari, Todd Haynes, Cheryl Dunye created the new queer cinema style to subvert these codes. New queer cinema's formalist style is totally self-referential. The setting is overtly presented as artifice to constantly remind viewers that the world in which the characters live is a screen. Therefore, the viewer understands how to decode color, costuming, lighting, etc. to reveal the messages that are sent out from the screen to the audience. Characters, as well as their relationships, have on-the-nose or abstract behavior, as well as dialogue that is self-referential or outright breaking the fourth wall in the direct address, to become allegorical figures exploring sexual politics or the context of LGBTQ+ history. Their behavior purposely defies the classical approach, which has historically othered them, so that the queer filmmakers are in control to create their own narrative. Most importantly, new queer cinema does not build queer sexuality or gender expression into one narrative, but creates an open-ended structure, so not to be defined in the context of a heterosexual one. For example, plot is freed from an arc of acceptance or tragedy in favor of intertextual conversations. Therefore, new queer cinema was not simply defined by the content of having queer characters in their stories, but by how it created its own style in a formalist response to the context of film's depiction of LGBTQ stories.
You get the wrong impression of me, the one to which you so eloquently referred. It wouldn't be the wrong impression in the slightest.
That is me! That's me! That's me!
In its day, new queer cinema style covered an array of aesthetics, genres, and histories through subversion, framed by the context it succeeded in reclaiming. In other words, new queer cinema challenged normative ideas about kinship, family, intimacy, and empire in stylistic techniques that did not legibly cohere with the global market or the US-based politics of coming out or visibility. Yet, as new queer cinema finally formalized into a style, during the late 2000s, the industry shifted from reclamation of queerness, otherness, to acceptance by a heterosexual world as soon as studios found ways to profitize off the queer audience. Thus the term queerbaiting was born.
You got a better idea? I did once.
Not only was the context shifting inside the industry, the political conversation shifted towards marriage equality in the 2010s, where queer politics started being accepted by the heterosexual community. As much as style informs context, context informs style, again exemplified by how studios shifted to heteronormatized queer stories. For example, all the radical formalist subversions of new queer cinema were then sanitized into wholesome entertainment, streamlining tokenist equal representation or coming out plots, cannibalized by a familiar form of classic heterosexual structure.
My name's Simon. I'm just like you. except I have one huge-ass secret.
Critical critique of current queer representation aside, the trajectory of how new queer cinema's structured style came and went is attributed to socio-political context. Styles change intermittently between eras, revolutions, artistic or technical advancements, communicated by the combination of evolving classical, realist, or formalist structures. In other words, through new queer cinema, we see that a film style acts as an emblem of the context in which it is made.